I like to think of myself as a very organized individual, though there are some members of my family who would tell you I am a little bit too ritualistic, and still others would tell you I am stuck in a rut. And so it goes every time I am getting ready to do a homily. My preparation is very much the same. I'll look at the readings during the course of the week, try and think about a central theme, and then I have a group of guys that I have breakfast with on Saturday mornings. They kind of help flush things out for me. Then I go back home and put the homily together. And that's exactly what happened this week. Central theme, we are what we eat. Breakfast on Saturday, guys help flush out some ideas. Check that one off. Come home, sit down at my desk. No sooner did I sit down that I get a text message from a friend of mine. We'll call her Jane. Jane's text message to me said this: I was admitted to ICU at Medina Hospital Friday night. Is there any chance you could come and bring me communion today? Needless to say, how could I say no to that? Put the homily aside, off to the hospital, stop at church, get communion, go and visit with my friend. And as we were there praying together, it occurred to me that she was the living gospel message. That's exactly the point what Jesus is trying to say. Jesus tells us, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood will have life forever. Even in the midst of very serious, significant health issues, what my friend was focused on was to be nourished by the body of Christ, so that she could continue to be part of the body of Christ. That's what we celebrate today. That's the message of this particular feast. Whether we are in some affliction, as is pointed out in the first reading from Deuteronomy, or whether we're not, whether it's a large struggle we're facing or a small struggle, Jesus came to be bread for us, to nourish us, so that we can, in fact, be the body of Christ for one another. Every action that Jesus took in his life was about sacrifice, about self-giving. And so too it is with each one of us, what we are each called to do. For my friend, I wondered what it was that caused her to reach out to me at that moment in time. What does communion mean to her? What does Eucharist mean to her? What does it mean to the larger community, to us gathered here today? What if it wasn't a time of crisis? Does it still mean the same? Does being nourished by the body of Christ still mean the same to us? As we approach the table today, may we be nourished by the body of Christ, never taking the Eucharist for granted, but being nourished so that we can be just as Jesus was, self-giving in our love, self-giving in our service, so that we, as a community, continue to nourish each other as members of the body of Christ.